CJ Flyer back with another YouTube video. I woke up this morning very grumpy, and for most part because of staying up late watching such a disappointing game. Dallas Mavericks ended up getting shut down against the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road, game one against the 1 seed. And I was kind of expecting this to happen. I'm not going to lie. I know that sounds very pessimistic, being the Dallas Mavericks fan and all. But look, Luka's playing on a bum knee, and the Oklahoma City Thunder are just firing on all pistons right now, and they're lighting it up from three. They looked incredible in the second half with a lot of their three-point attempts. Got to give them credit. First half, I could spend all day, just complaining about the refereeing and the insane foul calls that were being made. But at the end of the day, end of the game, the number of free throws were pretty similar amongst both teams. So can I really spend a lot of time complaining about that? Maybe, maybe not. Anyways, came across this article from Howard Beck at The Ringer. And, I was not familiar with Howard Beck's journalism game. But now, after reading this article, I got to say, I don't think I'm a fan. This just feels like a Luka hit piece. After the Mavericks are losing the first game of the series, which, by the way, Jason Kidd has never won a game one in a playoff series coaching the Dallas Mavericks, and this is a team that made it to the conference finals in 2022, so let's not act like the whole world's falling apart, and just because we lost game one on the road as a 5 seed against a 1 seed with an MVP candidate, that the whole series is just lost at this point, because it's absolutely ridiculous. The entire narrative around Luka and this team, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm putting my foot down, and this article, we're about to just break this thing down here. So it starts off with Luka's a great star, but is he not as good as he seems? His impact on winning is a different story. Is he really as valuable as he looks on the court and in the box scores? Because look, he's getting all these triple doubles. He's getting 30 plus points per game. He's doing all these amazing things. His moves look fancy, but is it actually, harming the team rather than helping the team? Because, yeah, totally. If we didn't have Luka on this Mavericks team, yeah, we'd be in this position, Totally would have made it out of the first round against the Clippers just without Luka. Just take Luka off the team, and this team is better, clearly. Because apparently that's what we're implying here. His impact on winning is not substantial. So you start reading through this, and talks about different stats and just kind of breaking down how, Luka's one of the greatest of all time, but the degree to which all of that otherworldly talent was actually translating to winning basketball, what has he actually accomplished here? Hasn't accomplished much. He's been around the league for a few years now, and he hasn't won multiple championships yet. Oh no! Remember, he's only, 25 years old? Are you kidding me right now? Okay, so anyways, let's keep scrolling. Let's just keep going. Got a nice little introduction here. And then we get to the first breakdown of advanced stats that apparently imply that Luka is not a difference maker on this team as far as getting wins. The math, as they say, was not mathing. Oh, man. Oh, no. Okay, so let's break this down. We have Luka's year-by-year on-off per 100 possessions. So basically what this is saying is that the team is, plus 3.7 net. The net rating, the net plus minus when Luka is on the court versus off the court. So this is saying that the team in 2018-2019 was, the point differential is actually 3.7 better with Luka off the court than on the court. And then ever since then, the team has been playing better with Luka on the court than off the court. And especially this past season, he's going to be top 3 in MVP voting. And he was, when Luka was on the court, the team's plus minus was 9.4 higher than when Luka was off the court. Okay, so that just simple breakdown there. And as the article goes on, sorry, I'm clicking around here. The article goes on. It starts talking about how his on-off stats are generally a reliable indicator of a player's true impact, and they don't reflect his elite play. And then it kind of goes on to compare his on-off rating with other MVP caliber, on-off ratings. So we have this list here, and now obviously, they include Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as a comparison, Nikola Jokic, and then what's going on here? Luka's in the middle of the season was only a plus 3.4. Oh no! And even more so, we go down to career net ratings and start looking at the breakdowns here. So these are players with well-established careers. Jokic has been around since 2016. We've had Garnett is retired, LeBron retired, Embiid has had a very long career, Curry's had a long career. You're going on and down the list with, the players that are towards the top end here. And it's like, well, yeah, of course their career net ratings are high because these are guys that had 15 to 20-year careers with great teams. I mean, let's be honest here. You take Luka off this Mavs team, they're probably not making the playoffs half the seasons. Are you kidding me? So here we go again. They're talking about how as of December 23rd this year, his on-off is only a 1, and April 14th is 2.7. And then they're like, well, the only player whose on-off was lower, when we look at Luka as of December 23rd, was Derrick Rose's career net rating. He's at 0.1. And I'm just like, okay. I just get so frustrated because, as great as stats are, and it's the way you use the stats, the advanced stats, as to how to, tell the story or how to, make assumptions or come to conclusions on certain players. And so first off, just to show you how stupid this stat is to make that comparison, I've pulled up the 2018-2019 season in which Luka's on-off net rating was negative, implying that the team was playing better with Luka off the court versus on the court. And keep in mind, Luka was averaging around, 30-some minutes per game that year. Let's go back up to the per game stats for Luka. 2018-2019, his rookie year, averaging 32 minutes per game. That team was garbage. That was Dirk's kind of retirement tour, if you will. That was his last season. That team stunk. It stunk real bad. We had an aging DeAndre Jordan starting at center. You had Harrison Barnes in there. It was not a great team, okay? No, I got nothing against Harrison Barnes. Seems like a great guy, but those are your best players. You're not going to get very far. You're probably not going to be a playoff or championship contending team. And with Luka averaging 30 plus minutes a game, when he's off the court is going to be garbage time. And with garbage time, you got both teams' worst players out there. So I guess the Mavericks' worst players, a.k.a. Kostas Antetokounmpo, a.k.a. Ryan Broekhoff, a.k.a. Trey Burke, were better or scoring more than whatever lineup the other teams were putting out there in garbage time. I mean, because look at this. Wow. Well, look, on court plus minus 18.6. You would have thought Antetokounmpo was the greatest of all time. Not Giannis, Giannis's brother, and not Giannis's brother on the Bucks, but Giannis's brother that I'm pretty sure is out the league at this point. So, just in a nutshell, just in a silo, this stat doesn't mean anything without context. Okay, context is everything. So the fact that we're trying to make these comparisons between these elite players that have already, completed their careers or close to it, and were on championship contending teams for multiple seasons, and comparing that to someone who the team has, you could say 2022 is a championship contender, and I don't know if you want to call this season a championship contending team. Maybe not. To be determined. Some people say they are, some people say they aren't. That's up for debate. But again, the context is everything. And just comparing these numbers, it just blows my mind. What's even the guy's name? What's the guy's name who wrote this article? Howard Beck. Losing all sight of the context and kind of trying to illustrate a narrative that Luka's not making his team better. He's not actually helping his team win. He's just a flashy player that just cares about making highlight plays. It's just ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. So another thing I wanted to do here, because, they're bringing up career on-off net ratings and comparing Shea to Luka, Shea's not that much higher than Luka. And just to confirm, they're pulling the stats from the same spot. I got Basketball Reference here. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander plus 3.6 on-off per 100 possession net rating for the career. Same number. Look at Luka's. It's plus 2.7. Okay? And just, again, for comparison's sake, so we look at his on-the-court plus-minus, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in his rookie season with the Clippers. It was negative, and the team played better with him off the court than with him on the court, according to this stat in his rookie season. So same thing with Luka here, except that the Clippers were even better without Shea on the court than the Mavs were without Luka on the court. Okay, there you go. And then we look forward these next couple seasons, and yeah, I mean, the Thunder were pretty bad in 2021, 2022. They were not a playoff team, and even though Shea's, again, this is why, just plus minus in general is not the best indicator. Is you could be a star player on a terrible team with a terrible, roster, and your plus minus is going to be bad. Sure, this is a good indicator to say, hey, the team was still better with Shea on the court than off the court, I suppose. And again, Luka's has always been positive. Yes, compared to other star players, again, like the on-off, I mean, I'm just losing focus right now. I'm so flustered. I'm so mad. Okay, context is everything. So looking at the 2021-2022 season, this is, again, the season in which the team made the conference finals. This is also the season in which Jalen Brunson started to take off as a potential all-star talent. Was he an all-star player in 2021-2022? No. If anyone forgets this, let me remind you now. Brunson was averaging, if we go up to his per-game stats, there we go. He was averaging 16 points per game during the regular season in the 2021-2022 regular season. No one thought he's an all-star. He was on the voting for most improved, finished 11th, so it's not like he was like, honorable mention, congrats, we recognize you've improved from the previous year. But regular season Jalen Brunson that year, the way that the lineups were run, yes, he got quite a few starts. He started in 61 of the 79 games that he played in the regular season. But after, the first quarter and excluding the end of the fourth quarter in close games, the coach, Jason Kidd, would interchange Luka and Brunson as like the primary ball handler on the court. Sometimes he'd run them together, but a lot of times through the course of the middle of the game, they'd be interchanging as the main guy out there. So just to look at this and be like, oh, Luka's team, Luka and the team was only 0.2 plus minus better with Luka on the court than off the court. Like, it's, hardly a difference. We wouldn't have noticed, how much the team would have performed the same with or without Luka that season. It's just, that's not true. Again, context is everything, because while Luka was off the court, we had future All-Star Brunson on the court averaging 16 points per game. And then we get into the playoffs. Can I find the playoffs per game quickly? Hold on one second. I'm gonna keep rambling here. I'm not editing this video, by the way. This channel, I don't edit these videos. Okay, playoff series. Perfect. Let's look at the points per game. And yeah, first round, 28 points per game. And then when Luka came back from injury, 18.7 points per game, 18 points per game. So again, yeah, the Dallas Mavericks probably should have signed him, but he was not the main guy on the team. And then when he became the main guy on New York, all of a sudden he's blossomed into this amazing player. He's an all-star. He's one of the best point guards in the Eastern Conference. And there you go. Like, he had that potential. So context is everything with these plus minuses. It doesn't tell the whole story. Can you tell me, like, with some of these other players with the plus minuses, it's like, who's coming in for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander that is, of an all-star caliber when he's off the court? Like, look at the plus minus this year for the Oklahoma City Thunder. When Shea's off the court, the team's plus minus is just about break even with the other team's lineup that they're playing. So again, they don't have like a future all-star guy coming off the bench in Oklahoma City. They start and tend to play all their good players. Okay, they tend to play all their good players together. All right, so let's look now. Again, we're moving into 2022, 2023, and with Luka off the court, the team's plus minus was in the negative. Who would have thought? A team that didn't make the playoffs. And then we go into 2023, 2024, and same thing. When Luka is off the court, the team's plus minus is negative. So this narrative that, well, Luka doesn't really make his team that much better is complete BS. Rookie season, the team just stunk. And Luka played 30-some minutes a game, and by the time he was done playing, you had Kostas Antetokounmpo just charging in against, I don't know, probably playing Ron Baker or something on the Washington Wizards. Just throwing out examples here, but those are the kind of scrubs that guy was going against. So, yeah, of course, the on-off, looks bad in the rookie season. And then we go into the next few seasons here. Again, context is everything. And the 2020 season, that was probably Porzingis' best season with the Mavs. 2021, Porzingis wasn't doing so hot. Made his exit. We got 2022. We got the Brunson show. Brunson finally becoming what, he reaching his potential, starting to reach his potential, as we saw in that first round of the playoffs. So yes, of course, when Luka's off the court and Brunson is on, the plus minus is not that much different. And then we get into 2023 and 2024, and oh my goodness, the team stinks with Luka off the court, and they outperform teams when he's on the court. Who would have thought? So this whole career net rating comparison is complete BS. I can't believe I just spent 15 minutes on this, but here we are. And getting past the stats now, we start going into just, the article starts off as if we're looking at only looking at advanced stats, but all we're looking at is this plus minus without the context. And then we start getting into feelings from people that are not even teammates with Luka. We start off by drawing in the emotion about how Stan Van Gundy says he's one of the greats, he's a generational talent, he's an all-timer. And then we move on, start talking about stupid plus minus again. We talk about career usage, being one of the most ball-dominant players of all time. We say his defense has been poor, which, by the way, Luka's defense was absolutely incredible in the series against the Clippers, but let's just ignore that. It's the boredom. Luka, is bored. He's bored. The NBA is too easy. Whatever. Okay, so then we start getting into these interesting quotes. One veteran assistant coach, underscoring the ball dominance issue, said you can almost sense a sigh of relief amongst Luka's teammates when he checks out of a game because it opens up a little more freedom for others to make plays. Okay, first of all, you can't throw this quote in here without telling us who's the coach. Is it a former coach? Is it the assistant coach on the Mavericks? Is it an opposing team's coach? And it's just, you can get a sense. No, this is not saying the players have specifically told me they are glad that he's off the court. This quote means nothing. It means nothing. There's no context to it. We don't know who this is. And then this one you gotta love. Chandler Parsons, former NBA player Chandler Parsons. By the way, never played with Luka. Yes, he was a former Dallas Maverick. Never played with Luka. He's mesmerizing with the ball, but as a teammate, it's a little exhausting watching the same stuff over and over again. I'm sorry. You were never his teammate. As a teammate, it's exhausting. You're just pulling crap out your ass. What? You have no perspective on what it's like to be Luka's teammate. So that context, that's just, irrelevant. And then we go on. So one longtime executive observes that Luka loves to put on a show and that on some nights it seems like he performs more than he competes. That's just a random feeling from a random executive. Is it an executive on the Mavericks team? Is it on a different team? We don't know. So we start with advanced stats without the context and just looking at the one stat in a silo. and saying, well, since, other players with fully developed careers on multiple championship contending teams that solely relied on that player, since their career on-off rating is so much higher than Luka's, clearly Luka's not that important to his team, or they're not much better with him on the court than without. And then we start going into this garbage of random quotes from unnamed people or people that are like talking from a perspective that they don't have, just throwing garbage in the air. So we start with irrelevant advanced stats without context. Then we're going to these quotes. The games are easy for him, the executive said. So he just tries to manufacture a triple-double by halftime to challenge it. Yeah, okay, sure. This is the most defense he's played. His commitment is the highest it's been since he's been in the NBA, said a rival coach. Now that I'll say, Luka's defense wasn't great at the start of his career. It's been much better in the past year or two. So, anyways, this was the point of the article where I couldn't keep reading. I haven't kept reading through this because, quite truthfully, a lot of this is just garbage. It's just lack of context, lack of perspective, a hit piece that's thrown out after Luka and the Mavs lose Game 1 against the new, fun, young, upcoming team that's looking to take over. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. Like, you could, honestly, with all the advanced stats and metrics that are out there today, there is always a way to make a star player look good or look bad. Just, fabricate some kind of narrative. I love stats as much as the next guy. And sometimes, with the context, you can really paint the picture, and it can be really, the nerd in me is like it's really fun and exciting to kind of break down some of the statistics and compare them between different players. But when you look at them in a silo without the full context and without looking at the other stats involved as well, it means nothing. It means little to nothing at all. So, the first half of this article is garbage. Like I said, I couldn't even keep watching the rest of this. Okay, we get to the end here. What's the conclusion? Maybe it's a futile pursuit trying to make sense of a single advanced stat in a complex game with infinite data points. Yeah, it is. It is, Howard Beck. It is. Maybe there is no objective or right answer here, no pair of analytic glasses that will reconcile the eye test with the advanced stats. Maybe, as someone once saying, it's best to let the mystery be. I can't believe this. Maybe interview some of his former teammates, not Chandler Parsons. Chandler Parsons does not have the understanding of what it's like to be a teammate of Luka. Yeah, he played with James Harden for 2 years in Houston, but they're two different players. People love to make the comparison of Luka to James Harden just because they both tend to isolate and they both have high usage rates. But if you look at the way the offense runs and the way the offense flows, Houston versus Dallas, it's a completely different ball game, especially now with Kyrie on the team. And when the two of them, Luka and Kyrie, playing together, the team looks so much different than that Rockets team. I'm over it. I'm over it. Just move on to Game 2. I have very low expectations for the Mavericks, especially with Luka playing with that swollen knee. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That's it. That's the video. See ya.